Hi everybody, this is Virginia Miller coming to you with another tutorial from the DeKalb County Library System. And today we're doing earrings, yay. We have in April, oh, I forgot the date. Anyway, I usually like to do cherry blossoms when the cherry blossom season is in, but I missed it. I'd already done a bunch of other things for the month, late March and early April. So I found Chinese Language Day. So, I mean, I wanted to do something Asian, so we're going to do that, and we're going to incorporate some cherry blossoms in there. So we're going to make 3 pairs of earrings again, 3 pairs of earrings. One of them is going to be this lovely cluster that sort of looks like cherry blossoms to me. And then we're going to do, well, I'm not going to show you all of them. It's no fun if I show you everything ahead of time. You'll see it in the picture, but we're going to be using crystals. We're going to use some acrylic flower petals and some teardrop bead crystals, crystal beads for our cluster. We're going to do a second pair using some beautiful painted porcelain beads, and we're going to do a third one out of some cloisonne beads. We're going to make our own ear wires. Fun, and we'll have fun. Why do I do that to myself? So we're going to get started. We just need our usual pliers, round nose, square or chain nose, and cutters. And I'm going to show you the supplies. Where's my ruler? I'll show you the supplies. Ruler. It's nice having these nice clear rulers until you put them down. And I'm going, where? I've got 3 rulers sitting all over my work table. Anyway, our pliers, our ruler. For the first one we're going to do, I will show you all of the components when we get down to the camera for each one. So we're going to start with this one, this nice, cute little cherry blossom cluster. That's what I'm going to call it. We're going to do our cherry blossom cluster first. So let's just get down here to the camera. And here's all of our items that we need. We need our beads, and our chain, and our jump rings. I mean, not jump rings, head pins, and an ear wire. Very, very simple. And we're going to use this nice long ear wire just so that we can make it a nice long dangle. So that's what we're going to do. And let's get going over here. Let's get started. Okay, let's get going. So let's start with our chain. So we're going to have a nice little length of chain that we're going to use to attach our little flowers. So the first thing that we're going to do is, already got it done. Take our chain, and those of you who get kits, I'm going to give you a nice length of chain, and you can go ahead and cut it down. I cut it, I think it's about 1 inch of wire, and then I cut it down to where I wanted it to dangle when I was finished. But instead of cutting it, just go ahead and leave it long, and then you can start attaching your pieces to it, and cut it when you get to the second one, and then cut that off when you've made it the length that you want it to be, or the fullness. So what you can do, depending on how full you want it to be, you can just put 1 flower on each of your chain links, and then go back and add in more later, and just to make it nice and full. And I put a couple of these little pretty teardrop crystals on there to look sort of like the greenery, the leaves. You don't see a lot of leaves on cherry blossom trees, but whatever. It's a flower. It needs some green. So the first thing I'm going to do is put together one of my flowers. So what I've got here is a couple of different kinds of little flower petals. I've got some little flat ones that just look like little petals. And then I've got some that have a little bit more of a drop. And you're just going to mix those up and put them on your chain. So the way that I put these together is to take a head pin and put one of my crystals on, and I'm using 4mm bicone crystals. Put the crystal on first, and then put the flower petal on with the scallop side down. And then I'm going to make a loop on the end. So what I like to do is bend it back. So it's at almost a right angle. And instead of making, well, let's just make our loop. So I'm going to slide my pliers down. The loop doesn't have to be that big. So on my pliers, it's going to go down about a little less than a third of the way, a little more than a quarter, but less than a third, because it just needs to hook inside of my link. So then I'm going to wrap my wire around the pliers, like so. Let me give you a little more camera action here. And then I'm going to bring it under the pliers until I have a loop. But I'm going to leave my stem long, because I found if I clip this off for my loop and try to get it onto my chain, the first couple are easy enough to do, but after a while, when you get the little flower petals on, it's kind of hard to fit that in between all of your little flowers to get it attached. So I suggest that you leave the tail of your wire intact until you attach it to your chain, and then you can cut it off. So I have something to slide it over. Just gives me a little more room away from the chain, so it's not as hard to attach. I'm going to open that up a little bit so that there's some space in between my loop and my tail of wire. And then I can slide it down on the chain and slide the chain into my loop. And push the wire loop together and finally clip it off. I'm going to clip it very close to the loop. You can either go inside of the loop or outside of the loop. I think I'm going to go just outside. And clip. Here we go. And then close it up completely. Make sure there's no opening in there. There we go. And then I'm going to put on one of my little teardrops right there. And the order of this is entirely up to you. You decide where you want your flowers to go. First one's easy. You just put it together. Then the second one, you want to try to make sure that the order is similar Doesn't have to be the exact same, because if you're using one color, it doesn't really matter as long as you have the same look once you put your flowers all on. But I got all different colors, so I try to kind of make the arrangement look close to the same as the first one. Yeah. Giving myself some space. Once I make my loops, give myself some space between the tail and the bead so that when I slide it on, it goes on nice and easy. I just put the tail of that inside the loop, let that loop slide down inside the loop of my bead. Push it together so I can see where to cut. And I'm going to clip that off right near the base of my loop. I'm going to keep sliding against the bead. Hold on to the tail so it doesn't go flying across the room. There we go, nice and neat. And close up my lid with my square pliers or my chainos. There we go. Now let's go on to the next one. Let's see, let's do one of these little kind of clear ones, kind of frosted. Yeah, let's put one of my little red beads in there. Grab another red pen. Again, put the crystal on first. Then put my flower on with the petals facing down. And there we go. Isn't that cute? Let's make the loop. Bend my wire back. Grab my round nose pliers. Slide my wire down about a little more than a quarter, a little less than a third. Bring that tail over my pliers and around and under until you have a nice little loop. There we go. And again, I'm leaving a little space between the tail and the back of my ring because I need to put it on my chain. And if it's too tight, I'm not going to be able to slide it in there easily. So I'm going to leave a little gap. Let's go ahead and put that on the next rung of my chain. And again, we can go back and fill it in later. Slide that down. Push that a little closer together. If you can get the tip of your pliers in your little loop, you can take your other pliers and push that around until you have an actual loop, like so. And then you can clip the tail off. And again, you don't want that tail sticking out even when you clip it. So if you clip it outside of your ring, which you can do. So I'm going to clip it outside of the ring. You can see the pliers are right at the back side of my ring. I'm going to hold on to the tail, snap it off. And now I have a nice loop, but the tail of it is back here where it could snag on something. So I'll go back with my pliers and adjust the loop so that the end of my wire is resting against the long edge of my loop. See if we can get a good picture of that. Like so. Nice closed loop. I see it in the camera. I can see a tiny, tiny bit of an opening. So I'm going to push that together so that there's no gap at all. There. Nicely closed. Then we're going to do another one, and we're just going to keep going like that until we have this. Neat, huh? Put that to the side. And then once we get all of our pieces, all of our components together, all of our little flowers the way we want them, then we're ready to attach it to our ear wire. And that's easy, easy peasy. I'm using this nice long kidney-shaped ear wire just so that we can have something really long and dangly for spring and summer. So all I need to do is decide where I want my chain to begin. And at first I had it hanging with some chain exposed, a lot of chain exposed. And then I decided I wanted to cut it just a little closer to the very first link of chain that had a flower on it. And it's up to you how long you want your necklace, your earring to be, but that's just the way I did it. So I'm going to take my kidney ear wire, and all I have to do is find the link that I want to link it to, which is the very top one. Let me see, did I do it the very, yeah, the first one that doesn't have a bead on it. And that's this one right here. So I'm just going to take the end of my kidney ear wire, slide it through that loop, let it go all the way down into the open loop at the bottom. And I like to squeeze this together a little bit so that this doesn't fall back off. It's kind of hard for it to fall off, but just to be safe, I have to squeeze it together so that the opening isn't quite as big, so that won't come off of there. And then I just need to clip off that end of chain that I'm not using. Grab my cutters and clip off right next to the one that's attached to my ear wire. Just clip. Make sure I have the right one. I don't want to clip the one that's actually holding it together. Snip that off. And voila, we have an earring. Ta-da! Two lovely cluster cherry blossom earrings. Neat, huh? I like them. They look like summer. They look like spring and lots of fun. I can't believe I'm doing that on camera. That's embarrassing. Anyway, there they are. Isn't it pretty? It really does look like spring. One of these days I'm going to get out of these sweaters, but the weather is very strange. Anyway, there they are. That's our first pair. Let's go on to pair number 2. Let me get all of this paraphernalia out of the way and we can get started on our porcelain pair. Okay, next we are going to make this lovely earring. This nice little porcelain earring. It's I decided to hang it from a nice length of chain, about a little more than an inch, I think. Let's see. Yeah, my chain is about an inch, a little more than an inch, not quite an inch and an eighth. It looks like it's longer, but that's because of the jump ring and the loop on the end of my bead. But I wanted to really showcase these pretty porcelain beads that we have. And I've been wanting to pull them out of my little arsenal, and today is the day. Then we have these lovely little posts that we're going to use as well. I started to make a post, but I thought, no, we're already going to make one ear wire. That's enough. So we've got these lovely little earrings. They're very simple to make, so let's get started making them. I have these really pretty bead caps. Well, that silver doesn't show up on my little pad here. So I've got these really cute little bead caps that I like, and I wanted something that I could just use to bracket my bead. I don't know why I keep doing that. You can't see it. I wanted to use something that would bracket my bead, but be very simple. Watch how easy this is. We're going to take a head pin. I'm going to put one of my little flowery bead caps on. I'm going to put my porcelain bead on. One of the reasons I'm using bead caps is look at how big the hole in this bead is. I mean, it is about 2 millimeters. That's pretty big. And it may not work with a head pin. It might, but it might wiggle its way through and come out the other end. So this is as much for beauty as it is function. So I put my little head pin on, and it's also the bottom, the base of my head, my cap. I put my little cap on is what I meant to say. The base of my cap is almost the same size as the head of my pin. So that head just kind of disappears into the bottom of the cap, and you don't even notice it there. It's kind of amazing. Anyway, so I put my cap on, follow it with my bead. Cute, huh? Could have left it at there, but no. Come back. I could have left it at there, but no, I decided to, I could have just left it as a cap, but instead I decided to make my caps into frames on either side of. Isn't that cute? I like that very, very much. So that's what we're doing for the main part of our earring. So I've got the end of my head pin. I'm going to bend it back at almost a right angle. I just need a very small loop. So I'm going to go down, just not far away from the tip of my bead, because it doesn't need to be too far away, because I want it to kind of look like my chain, just look like an extension of my chain instead of a big loop on top. I just need enough for it to go through my chain. So there's my loop. Now I'm going to open it off to the side here. Take my chain and just slide it on, slide my loop into the last loop of chain into the loop of my earring, like so. And I'm going to close up my loop. Now, see how my little cap is wiggling around a little bit? Might not want that to be. I might want to make sure that my loop is a little bit closer to the top of my cap. So I'm going to open this up a little bit. And make my loop a little bit bigger so that it rests right down there on top of my cap. Squeeze those ends together. And adjust my loop until it's right on top of the cap of my bead. Just making a little bit of an adjustment so that everything is nicely closed up. Closed a little bit more. Stop moving. Gotcha. There. And there it is. And now all I need to do is attach it to my ear post. How am I going to do that? I'm going to use a jump ring. So this is a tiny little jump ring. It's about 5 millimeter. Doesn't have to be too large because I just wanted it to actually be functional and not attract too much attention. So I'm going to take my little jump ring. There's a couple ways that you can open a jump ring, and one of them is to put one pair of pliers on the side and then you use your thumb on the other side to push the jump ring open. But if you have a really, really tiny one, it might be easier to just use 2 pairs of pliers, one on either side of the opening, and twist it open like that. So now it's nicely open. And slide the jump ring on the last ring on the other side of the chain, just like that. Close it up. Actually, before I close it up, let me grab my post. See the little loop on the bottom? I'm going to slide that in to my jump ring. And now I'm ready to close it up. And oops, let's get this little opening nice and flush on both sides. There we go. And I have an earring. Now all I need is this little back to put on it. And there we are. 2 lovely pairs of porcelain drop earrings. Aren't those gorgeous? If I must say so myself. I love earrings. All right, earrings number 3. We're going to do, didn't have a lot of paraphernalia to get out of the way, so I can just move on. We're going to do these lovely cloisonne beads. Aren't those pretty? Seems kind of glary to me, but I hope you can see this. These beautiful beads. Yeah, so pretty. And we're going to make our own ear wire. Look like this. And that's going to be a simple link. It's going to kind of looks like a musical note, I guess. Yeah. So this is going to be a simple linking together with eye pin and head pin. First, we're going to take our head pin, and I put the little one on the bottom because that's just the way I chose to do it. So I'm going to put the small cloisonne bead on the bottom with my head pin. I'm going to bend my head pin back again at almost a right angle, and then I'm going to clip it off until I only have about ½ an inch. Not even that much, more like 3/8 of an inch of an extension, because I just need a really small loop. Clip that off. Oh, wire just went flying across the room because I didn't have a good hold on it. Shame on me, darn it. Now I'm gonna have to chase it. So now we're gonna have to make our loop. So I just need a small loop. I'm only going for about 2 millimeters because that's all I need in order to hook it to the next piece of wire. So I'm just going to go down a little more than 1/4 of the way down my pliers, and all pliers are not created equal. You can take the tip of your pliers and measure it to see where you get about 2 millimeters for your loop. And that's where you're going to slide your wire to. So once I've got my wire here and nothing's sticking out the back, I'm going to turn my pliers, oops, to start my loop. It's fighting me. These are nice strong pins. And just keep turning. I rotate, open my pliers up, clamp back down, rotate again, open my pliers, rotate back, clamp back down, and I just keep doing that until I have a nice loop. And there we go. There's my loop. And once my loop is completed, trying to get it completely closed here. There we go. So now I have a nice loop, and I'm going to put that down and go to my next bead, which is my next largest bead. And I'm going to slide that on my head pin. The beauty about cloisonne is that it's middle, it's hollow on the inside, and then it's embellished around the side. That hollowness on the inside means I have to feel around to get to the opening. So I slide that on my bead. And bend my wire back again at about a right angle. Put my pliers in about, down to where my little 2 millimeters will be, and make my loop. Okay, and there we have it. Now all I need to do is attach it to my other bead. I'm going to open my loop up on the side, slide my other bead, the loop to my other bead, inside the open loop, and close it. Let's make sure that the loop is nicely closed and flush against the back of my wire. And there we go. There's the main part of my earring right there. And now it's time to make my ear wire. Yay! So I'm going to take about 3 inches of wire. And I'm going to make a nice little spiral. Doesn't have to be huge. Like that. Let's start there. So now I need to match my spiral that I've already made. The easiest way to do this is to take your pliers. I'm going to go right down to the very tip of my pliers and grab the very tip of my wire. Now, you don't have to grip it so tight that that it snaps off the end of your wire. You just want it enough so that it'll hold the wire in place. And I find that if I anchor it with my finger, it's a lot easier to work with. If you're trying to do it in midair, it keeps sliding off. So if I anchor it with my finger and it slides off, it doesn't go so far. So I'm going to clamp down on the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. See how it slides off? If I don't clamp so hard, I can get it started a little easier. So now I've got the start of my loop. Let's go back again to the tip. Continue my loop. Just wrap around until I have the start of a loop. Now I'm going to continue to wrap the wire around itself to achieve a spiral. I don't want it to be a tight spiral. I want a nice open spiral. So I'm going to wrap until I have a nice little open circle here. Then I'm going to keep wrapping the wire around itself. Just keep wrapping. See that? And the backs of the wire don't touch the other parts of the wire. It's just nice and open, like a little snail. Keep wrapping until I get the spiral that I want. And at some point, you can also use your fingers to wrap if you want a little more control over it. So I can just use my fingers, and I can keep an eye on the other one to make sure that they look similar. That looks pretty good. What do you think? And remember, they need to be mirrored. One needs the spiral to go that way, and the other one needs the spiral to go that way. So I think this is pretty good right here. Yes. So I'm just going to bring the end of my wire up to what is going to be the top of my spiral. Right there. And then I'm going to bend my wire until it's kind of angling straight up away from my spiral. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make the part that's going to go in my ear. So you can use your fingers to do it. I think I used a pencil. If I can find my pencil that I was using, you can use an ink pen, any cylindrical item that you want to use to make that part of your. I cannot believe I can't find. It was a pencil, a plain ordinary pencil. You can use the end of your pliers. It's entirely up to you, depending on the size and the shape that you want it to be. I can't find my pencil, so I'm going to use this ink pen. It's a little bit bigger. Actually, it's a lot bigger. There it is. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go to the back where the long part of my wire is. And I'm going to wrap it around. Here's my coil going away from the pencil. And I'm going to use my fingers to hold it in place. And I'm just going to wrap this around my pencil just to get the shape that I want. Just like that. And that just gives me my shape, and then I can push it together to make it smaller or bigger, depending on what I want. Now, I want this to show. So what I'm going to do is twist it so that the wire part is going towards the back of my spiral. So I'm just going to grab the bottom of my spiral and grab the top of my wire, and I'm going to give it a little twist. Like so. And now I'm going to do a little bit of shaping of my loop. And I'm going to make my little slope, just a little graceful slope. Like so. And then I'm going to, if you need to, you can clip it. It depends on how long you want your tail to be. My tail is pretty good. It doesn't need to be much longer than this. I want these to match up, so I'm going to open this up a little bit so it matches a little better. Straighten that out a little bit so it matches a little bit with this one. Except that, you know what, I like the way that this is dipping in more. So I'm gonna make this one match. Get a little bit more of a slope there. And just adjust it until it looks the way you want it to look. And then on the end, I'm going to take the tip of my little round nose pliers and put a little ledge on it. And you do that so that it won't slide out of your ears. So now I have that little ledge on there. And now how, you ask, do I get my earring on? There we go. There we are. And again, remember that they need to mirror each other. So one spiral needs to go one way, the other spiral needs to go the opposite way. So there we have our two spirals mirroring each other. And how again do you get your earring on? Very simple. Take your earring where the top loop is, slide it over the ear wire and down into the spiral, and just roll it around in there until it drops from wherever you want it to drop. If you want it to drop from the center, you can. Otherwise, you can drop it from the very bottom. And you want to make sure that there's enough space in the bottom so that it has some movement. You don't want it to be trapped. You want it to have a little bit of movement. If you're afraid that this might come off, it won't. It has too far to go. But if you're afraid that it will, what you can do is back your wire up a little bit closer at the top of the spiral so that it won't go anywhere. But it won't. It's fine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our third pair of earrings. I'm always having time trying to figure out how to display them once I get them made. Yeah, that's not working. I know. Put them over the pencil. There we go. Yep. Come on, work with me here. There. This one. There's the other one. I wish this pencil was a little bit more of a neutral shade. Ooh, and I can see that one looks a little longer than the other one. Good, so I can fix that. Let's see here. Yes, I need to match my ear wires a little bit better. So I need to pull my loop a little away from the top so that they're the same length. I think that does it, but let's check and make sure they're both hanging the same distance so that I don't have one long one and one short one. Okay, let's push that up a little bit, and you just make your adjustments until they fit the way you want. And let's face it, they're going to be in opposite ears. Unless it's a really glaring difference, nobody's going to notice a fraction of an inch. But you want it as close as you can get. Adjust that a little bit. Push that down a bit. And I think we have a winner. What do you think about that? Very pretty. Ta-da! Earrings number 3. Nice job. Let's put them on the ruler. See if that works. There they are. Ta-da! There are the earrings. It's weird how much fun I have doing this. I'm going to straighten that out a little bit more. Needs a little more length. The joys of freeforming. think that works. I'm gonna have to try them on my ears to see what works, see what it looks like. But I think we have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. There are our earrings, our third pair of earrings. And there are the other two. All this paraphernalia out of the way and look at our beauty. Oh, nice. And they're all so different. I am set for spring, ladies and gentlemen. Ta-da! Nice. Very good. Okay, that's it. That's our program for today. I think we've done a lot. I think we have some gorgeous things that we're going to be using. And I hope that you enjoyed this a lot. I really have. So I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope you'll make yourself lots and lots and lots of earrings. These are very, very easy to make. You can see different types of variations of things that you can do. And I hope that you will show me what you make. Again, if you have any questions about anything that we've done here today that maybe it wasn't clear, please don't hesitate to email me at jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. If you make these, please post them on our on the library Facebook page. It would really, really be nice. And you can just do that under facebook.com/DeKalb Library, I think it is. But anyway, it's the DeKalb County Library in Atlanta, in Decatur, Georgia, and you can't miss it. And I hope that you'll come back. I hope that you like what we're doing here, and I hope that you'll come back for another episode of Jewelry with Jen. But until the next time you see me, have a nice week, have a nice weekend. See you